Fly to another country. It doesn't matter which one, pretty much anywhere in the world. Almost as soon as you step off the plane, you're face to face with them. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, KFC, Starbucks, the Hard Rock Cafe. There are almost as many of them in global cities as there are here in the United States. Every time we travel, I'm dismayed to see the same chain restaurants we have here. And I'm always baffled to hear so many American voices lined up to buy Big Macs and Frappuccinos. Why would you spend all that money and time flying to another country only to eat exactly the same food you can have here? Try currywurst while you're in Berlin, or arancini in Sicily, or haggis in Glasgow. Yes, I have eaten haggis, Scotland's national dish of sheep's heart and lungs chopped up with onions and pepper and boiled in a sheep's stomach. It's pretty good as long as you don't think about what it is. The gift of stepping outside of our own culture is getting to experience the way other people eat and drink and live for a few days. These encounters always teach us about ourselves, and we come back home with a deeper appreciation for other cultures and clearer insight about our own. The Apostle Paul knew about this tension between the familiar and the different. It's recounted in the Acts of the Apostles. The book of Acts is the sequel to the Gospel of Luke. Luke ends his gospel with Jesus' resurrection. Acts picks up with Jesus' ascension, then tells the story of the early church, especially the ministry of Peter and Paul. If you've never read the Acts of the Apostles, you really should sometime. It's an adventure story, complete with miraculous healings, bitter arguments, jailbreaks, plural, a shipwreck, and running through it all, the work of the Holy Spirit. The Spirit shows Peter, Paul, the other apostles, the whole church what to do and where to go. She helps people understand each other, even when they speak different languages. She falls on people at their baptism, making clear that they are genuine followers of Jesus. She guides the church when it has big decisions to make, like, do you have to be Jewish to be Christian? The Spirit's answer is no. The good news of Jesus is for everyone, whether they are Jewish or not. The Gospel of Luke is a book about Jesus. The Acts of the Apostles is a book about the Holy Spirit. Paul starts off as a devout Jewish man named Saul, an opponent of Christianity. To Saul, this whole Jesus thing is too different. The claim that Jesus is the Messiah challenges what he thinks he knows about God. So Saul goes after those who are different. He informs on Christians to the authorities. He's present the first time a follower of Jesus is put to death, and Saul approves. But Jesus appears to Saul while he's traveling to Damascus, asking, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? Saul is struck blind. He's taken to the home of some Christians in Damascus, and they care for him until he recovers his sight. When Saul is well again, he is baptized. He changes his name to Paul, and instead of persecuting those who are different, Paul begins to seek them out. He travels throughout the Mediterranean world to proclaim the good news of Jesus. His entire life becomes meeting people he doesn't know and forming relationships with them. Imagine for a moment what this is like in the first century. There's no guidebook to any of these places, no Rick Steves videos. Paul has certainly heard about Athens and Corinth and other cities, but he doesn't really know what he's going to find when he gets there. The food might be weird. The customs are going to be different. Who knows what the weather might be like? The sense of strangeness must have been relentless. I can totally understand why Paul might have wanted some first century Starbucks, just to taste something that was exactly the same as it was back home. But Paul doesn't do that. He holds himself open to all the newness he's encountering. The Holy Spirit often speaks through dreams and visions in the Acts of the Apostles, and some combination of these two tells Paul to go to Macedonia. A vision during the night sounds like a dream to me. Paul and his companions leave Troas in modern-day Turkey and sail north across the Aegean Sea. Then they either travel up the river or overland to Philippi. They stay in the city for several days, getting to know the place and the people. Then, on the Sabbath day, they head to the gate by the river, where it seems there is a place of Jewish prayer. And Paul speaks to the women he meets there. One of them is called Lydia. She's a worshiper of God, meaning she is drawn to Judaism and attends prayer services, but has not converted to Judaism. Lydia is from Thyatira in modern-day Turkey, and she's a dealer in purple cloth. Purple dye is rare and expensive in the first century, and Lydia is doing well enough to have a large home and household servants in Philippi. She listens attentively to Paul's teaching about Jesus, and God opens her heart to the good news of the gospel. Lydia asks to be baptized, and after she and her entire household have become Christian, she invites Paul and his companions to stay with her. It must have been daunting for Lydia to do that. What if these foreigners turn out to be completely bizarre and she winds up with the house guests from hell? But Paul and his companions have done something marvelous for Lydia. They've introduced her to Jesus, and now she wants to thank them with kindness and hospitality. And daunting as it may be to stay in the home of someone they've just met from a completely different culture, what if they commit some faux pas and accidentally offend Lydia and put her off Christianity? Paul and his companions accept. The Holy Spirit has guided Lydia and Paul and his companions to each other. It is God's will that these people from very different faith backgrounds, different parts of the world, different cultures be in relationship with each other. This is a microcosm of the work of the Holy Spirit in the Acts of the Apostles. The Spirit is pushing the church out from its origins in Galilee and Jerusalem into the entire known world. Christianity spreads as followers of Jesus take the risk of relationship with people different from them. If Peter, Paul, and the others had focused their ministry just on people like them, the church would have remained pretty small. But because they're paying attention to the Spirit, they go out into the world to meet people who are different from them, like Lydia, and become friends with them, and share the good news of Jesus with them. Those new Christians did the same, and the ones after them, and the ones after them, and the ones after them, so that eventually the Christian faith came all the way to us in Worthington, Ohio. Our country is in a season of inward focus these days. We go through them from time to time. The culture around us regards foreigners with suspicion and urges us to keep to our own kind. The Holy Spirit shows us a different way, being in relationship with people of different races and religions and cultures. Just as Paul and Lydia met people who were different from them and became friends with them, we carry on the work of the gospel when we form relationships with people who are different from us. And we don't have to go far to do that. Here at St. John's, there are people who are native-born Americans and people who immigrated to the United States, people who grew up on farms and lifelong city dwellers, Southerners and Midwesterners and Yankees, Republicans and Democrats and independents, people who are straight and people who are bi and people who are gay, people from a variety of races and faith backgrounds and cultures. The Holy Spirit's invitation to us today is to build those relationships, not just with people we're already friends with, but with people we don't know well. We can do that after worship. We might start with a simple question like, what's bringing you joy right now? We human beings like familiar people, places, tastes. But the Holy Spirit leads us into relationship with people who are different from us, so that we may see the face of Jesus Christ in each other and know ourselves more deeply. You can go to McDonald's in Paris if you want. You can order a Royale with cheese just like in Pulp Fiction. But you know what McDonald's doesn't serve? cassoulet, or thin crepes served warm with Nutella, or freshly baked baguettes. It's only by stepping away from the familiar and engaging with the different that you get them. There's a whole world of cuisines out there, and the Holy Spirit wants us to taste them all.